Welcome into another episode of Tailgate Talk SEC. I am Will Thomas, and today we have got your SEC basketball weekend recap from Valentine's Day. Now, it was a lovely day of basketball, right? I won't do that again. I'm sorry, but it was a hell of a day of basketball. We had 8 really solid basketball games. A lot of them had really legitimate tournament implications, and we'll get into all of those as we go through each game. But let's just get straight into it, going in order. Texas A&M at Vanderbilt, 82-69. Vandy. Doors just handled business. They were able to take care of business at home. And if you had told me pregame that Tyler Tanner was only going to score 4 points in 31 minutes, I would have told you they probably lost. Not even that the game was going to be close, but I would have told you that A&M went in there and just got an outright win. But A.K. O'Carrican went for 23. Tyler Nickel went for 25. Their sniper from deep. It was a big-time all-around game for Vandy. And it was helpful. Like, obviously, we knew those other guys were really good basketball players. It was refreshing, or not refreshing, but confidence-inspiring, I guess, to see for Vanderbilt that other guys, not only can they be good, but they can also be the ones to win you games. If Tanner is, just like 3 of 10 from the field or something like that, you have the other guys who can win you games. And for the Aggies, they only had one player in double figures. Marcus Hill had 20 points. Vandy won the rebounding battle. Both teams were undersized coming into this game, so the doors weren't really disadvantaged. Despite both teams being small, you kind of expect neither team to really do great on the glass against other teams. In this spot, it was 2 teams who were a little bit smaller, and Vandy had the edge. A&M was 5 of 10 from the free throw line. Only shot 10 free throws. Vandy shot 29 and made 23 of them. That is a massive gap. I mean, that's the difference in the game. Right there is Vandy getting 18 more points from the line in 19 more attempts. It's impossible to win games with that margin. Aggies were once again poor from deep, just 8 of 29. Their shooting has really gone away in the past week or two. A&M could miss the tournament. I'm really out on them. I feel like the book is out on how you beat this Aggies team. They're starting to play the upper half of the SEC, and you're seeing them get beat. I think it's 4 straight losses now. I'm really out on the Aggies and Vandy. They will push for a 5 seed, maybe even a 4 seed. This team is still as dangerous as ever. Now, it might have been the biggest and best game from the SEC last night was Kentucky at Florida. The Wildcats went to Gainesville and lost to the Gators 92-83. The Gators are the best team in the SEC. That's just a fact. And the discourse following this game was about the officiating. First off, Kentucky fans saying that, man, I wish we got a home whistle was unbelievably hilarious. But SEC officiating is always criticized. Kentucky fans are just loud. The officiating in the SEC has always been bad. No one has ever watched an SEC basketball game and been like, man, that game was called great. I wouldn't change a thing. It's always horrible. Kentucky fans they were just loud about it because they wanted to win that game, and they didn't. I didn't think it was any worse in this game than it usually is, but Xavier Lee for the Gators, man, he might have arrived. He might really be here. He might be finding a stroke. He had 22 points, 4 of 7 from deep, and Urban Klausner had 19 points on 5 of 11 shooting from downtown. Ruben Chiniolu, he played really, really poor and still had a double-double. I mean, the guy is just a machine, so even when he's not being featured, he's not playing well, really on either side of the court. Still a double-double machine. Aberdeen for Kentucky coming back to Gainesville. Denzel had 19 points. He led the Wildcats in scoring. It was a great game for him. Colin Chandler had 18. Otega Owe, though, just 13 points on 4 of 14 from the field. He did not have his best game. And surprise, surprise, the Gators won the rebounding battle by 9. The points in the paint were even. Kentucky did do a pretty good job offensively down low. And the Gators, they just won wire to wire against a surging Kentucky team that I think could easily make a run to the Elite Eight. This team is just so, so good. And the rematch in Rupp to end the year is going to be awesome. Moving on to a game that didn't get a whole lot of eyes, but had a notable result. Georgia at Oklahoma, and the Sooners took down Georgia 94-78. It was the SEC's first fire stoppage this season with the popcorn machine in Oklahoma Stadium lighting on fire. But my first note other than that is that Georgia just sucks, man. They're really bad. They were once again missing their top scorer, which is noteworthy. They get a little bit of grace, but they were up by 7 in the second half. How do you lose by 16? 23-point swing in like 18 minutes against an Oklahoma team that I agree with this, is not really that bad. They're not good. You close that game out on the road. You're a bubble team. You need this win. Bad loss for Georgia, but Blue Cane, it gave them 20. And they got 16 from Marcus Millender. Oklahoma had 4 guys in double figures, though. Nigel Pack had 18. Tay Davis had 19. I think I'm saying his name right. Cool Attack. If that's his name, by the way. If his name is Cool Attack, I'm buying a jersey. But he had 18 points on 6 of 7 from downtown, and Dayton Forsyth had 13. Oklahoma, they are clearly better than their record shows. It was a bunch of close losses earlier in the SEC slate. I said this during the week. They are much more dangerous than they look, and they could really play spoiler to a lot of teams down the stretch here. For every team that has Oklahoma on their schedule, that cannot be a sleepwalking game because they will beat you. They beat Vandy last week. They demolished Georgia at home this week. This is a solid Oklahoma Sooners team who can get you if you're sleepwalking into a game. So you have to be worried about Oklahoma if you see them on their schedule. But for Georgia, man, they've got to get together. I mean, this team might end up missing the tournament after being ranked coming into SEC play, getting good seed talk. Mike White, man. Mike White, I just can't get to know with him. The next game here, LSU went to Tennessee, and they played the Vols way better than I thought they would. This was one of my hide your kids games going into the weekend, but LSU played pretty well. I mean, Nate Emmett for the Vols, he had 22 again. Estrella had 16. Gillespie only had 12. It was a very balanced LSU attack. They had 4 starters who scored in double figures. Sutton and Reese both had 15. Tamba had 13, and Nwoko had 10. The battle down low was just brutal. Yeah, I mean, this is where Tennessee won the game. It's where they've won a lot of games. The board battle was 45-24 in favor of Tennessee, 34-18 gap in the points in the paint. And the turnovers, this is kind of what kept the Tigers in it. It was 9-3 in favor of LSU, and turning the ball over has been an issue for Tennessee all year. They're near the bottom of the SEC in turnovers per game. That's something that has to get fixed if they want to make a run in Nashville and in March Madness. But Tennessee, with this win, they are staying in position to get a double bye when the SEC tournament rolls around in a few weeks. The Egg Bowl on hardwood, Mississippi State at Ole Miss. I had picked Ole Miss here. And Mississippi State just absolutely jumped them. 47-28 was the score at halftime. Josh Hubbard had 32 more points. He really was able to build off of that Tennessee game that I thought maybe he wouldn't be able to replicate that performance. He very, very much did. You got 18 from Achor, 12 from Epps, and Ole Miss is just a disaster. They played 13 guys, and Malik Dia gave him 32. AJ Storr had 21. So 11 other guys in this game scored 25 total points. There's not really any sort of answer for Ole Miss. It didn't help them in this game. Obviously, the Mississippi State shot 58% from the field, and they won the points in the paint 34-26. But to get totally dominated by Mississippi State on your home court, I mean, Ole Miss is just out of it. They're just out of it. It's a lost year for Chris Beard and the Rebels. They shouldn't be this bad. They really shouldn't. But it's not happening this year for them for whatever reason. But Ole Miss can hopefully flush this year down the drain and head into next season and try and get back to the tournament. Moving on now, Auburn went to Arkansas, and Arkansas beat them 88-75. Billy Richmond. How do you do Billy? He had 25 points on 12 of 15 from the field, but he was still outdone by his teammate Darius Acuff, who had 31 points on 10 of 15 shooting, 7 of 10 from deep. There's not really anybody better than Darius Acuff. End of sentence. It was an absurd two-headed monster for Arkansas in that one offensively. And Auburn, they were missing Keyshawn Hall because of what Stephen Pearl, described as not living up to the standard. So we'll see what happens with that. But they were able to pretty much still compete. Tahad Pettiford had 29 points. He was 4 of 7 from deep. Keyshawn Murphy, the other Keyshawn for the Tigers, had 22. Kevin Overton didn't have him for him last night. Only 5 points on 1 of 13 from the field. I mean, Arkansas shot 57%. And they won that paint battle 52-34. The Hogs were just a better team. And they have a big one this week at Bama in the midweek. Auburn needs Keyshawn Hall back, and they got to break this skid because this team is pushing not making a tournament. The rest of their schedule, it isn't necessarily easy. They get Kentucky, they get Alabama again. It's not a very easy end of their schedule. They need to win games. So with Keyshawn Hall, we'll see how long he's out. But, man, things are not looking great for Auburn right now. South Carolina went to Alabama. This was another game. I said hide your kids. It was a little closer to that, 89-75. Crimson Tide. They were 41% from deep as a team, did what they wanted from long range. Holloway and Philon, they made 8 threes and scored 39 points combined. Latrell Wrightsell was great off the bench again. He scored 19 points. And Michi Johnson, he did all he could for Carolina. He put up 26 points, just not enough here. The title rolling again, like I brought up in that last game. They host Arkansas in a big-time SEC showdown this Wednesday, so I'm excited for that one. And the final game, the bubble game of the year to this point, was Texas at Missouri, an 85-68 Texas win. I had picked Missouri, but Texas just went in there and leaned on the Tigers all night long. It was close for most of the game, but the Longhorns were able to pull away. Really, it's because of how they played in this game. Dalen Swain had 25 points for him. Wilkie Titus had 19. Tremont Mark only had 8. But it didn't really matter. You had the other guys for Texas really step up. And for Missouri, Mark Mitchell and Jaden Stone each had 16. The Tigers shot 38 free throws. Texas only shot 23. Despite that gap, Missouri only made two more. Missouri was 23 of 38. Texas was 21 of 23. They just left so many points on the free throw line, and that really cost them this game. Texas won the board battle by 10, points and paint by 12. They just kind of leaned on them. They were just wearing them down, play by play, and they eventually broke. And Texas is legit. I mean, their schedule isn't too hard to close. I think their biggest game left, they host Florida in like a week and a half. That's a big time spot for Texas. They could easily win that game. And Missouri, they still have chances to make Selection Sunday not really stressful. I mean, they get Arkansas twice. They host Tennessee. I believe they host Vandy. And you obviously have the SEC tournament in Nashville. So Missouri still has all of it in front of them to make a run, really improve their seed line create a seed line and really make the bracket. But this is a big time bubble win for Texas, but they probably still have to win another game, a big game or two, if they want to make the big dance. And those are all the 8 games from Saturday, Valentine's Day in SEC basketball. If you guys have been enjoying all this basketball content, subscribe to me here and follow me on Twitter. I'll be doing recaps for every game, and I'll be previewing every weekend game, obviously, also, while still keeping a pulse on college football and all these eligibility cases that we've got. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Tailgate Talk SEC. I've been Will Thomas, and I will see you next time.